And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good morning. I'm going to try and let things catch up a little bit here. This should be the last day that we have any technical issues, I'm hoping. Welcome. It's time for the market forecast. I'm John. Thanks for trusting me with your time. Friday, November 5th. As always, we're seeking context, risk management, and good patience. 7:30 this morning, the unemployment numbers came out. Non-farm payrolls. We're expecting an additional 450,000, came out much better than that, 531,000. Private non-farm payrolls even beat that. The unemployment rate has dropped from 4.7 to 4.6%, and the participation rate remains exactly the same at 61.6%. Getting up this morning, starting my research at 6 o'clock. The U.S. stock indices were modestly higher prior to the unemployment release. We're seeing some considerable knee-jerking going on right now. We're going to have to see how these markets digest all this information. The U.S. House intends to vote on the infrastructure and social spending bills today. We'll have to see how that plays out. A lot of arm bending and stuff like that going on. The crude oil has now steadied after a $5 break off the highs yesterday. Boy, what a day that was. It was, OPEC denies the U.S. request to boost output, and the market tanks. Apparently, there was some talk of risk, potentially the beginning of next year, of renewed oversupply. So conflicting information, really just a very difficult trading day in crude oil. Hopefully, if you were able to catch it, God bless you. We're kind of looking at this market in a new light now, so we're going to see that shortly. Unfortunately, Europe and Asia are seeing seasonal spike in coronavirus, said to be possibly aided by waning immunity due to the first round of viruses. Infections at an 11-month high in Germany, so that's not good news, of course. But as always, please make sure you do hit the lucky like button. Share, comment, question, feedback, and heckling are always welcome. Subscribe to our YouTube channels. You get notified when we do go live. I'm taking a brief look this morning at the VIX, down 15.35 dollar index. Really, just 10 ticks off the 52-year high. Right, last I checked was 94.46. 94.56 is the 52-year high. The 10-year yield still sliding 1.52%. As always, gotta say good morning to everybody. Thank you all for joining me and checking out the markets with me this morning. Brian, good morning. Spencer, yeah, some pretty good jobs numbers this morning. D-Bose, gold is rising and then falling and then coming back into the overnight range, it looks like. Laura, good morning. George, Rick, my brother, good to see you. Zoraine, Vince, Dr. VJ, David Keene, good morning from San Francisco. Oh, man, 5 a.m. felt early this morning. I'll bet it did, David. Yeah, we are, by the way, moving the clocks back an hour this weekend. So Saturday night at 2 o'clock, it goes back to 1 o'clock. We get an extra hour this weekend to sleep or do whatever it is we're doing at 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Love the overnight NQ, Chris. Good. Federico. Darn gremlin, I know, right? He's hanging around here somewhere. Wish I could find the time to play it. I know I like to sleep too, right? John, good morning. James. Anatoly, good morning. A couple of possible new names there. I love trading from the Pacific time zone. You get up early, but sometimes you're done by 7:30. That's a wonderful thing, right? You got a whole day. Harry, good morning. Walt, Chris, loves the shirt. Oh yeah, I got my Grateful Dead meets the Peanuts shirt on today. I saw this a couple of months ago, hanging out with my daughter, and we both had to have one. I love the Peanuts and the Grateful Dead. As a matter of fact, not only do I have a gremlin, I have a little Jerry that sits on my desk. He's gonna be my little good luck charm today, I hope. Peter, good to see you. Nelson, Rob, David. Yeah, I'm done by 8 o'clock most days. See, that's wonderful. Clem, Patrick, Adrian, Nemo, 52 week. Hi, 52 week. Did I say year? I probably did. My brain's working, but I don't think my mouth works this early. Working on it though. Mert, it's good news to sell the S&P 500 at the top. A new excuse, variant of COVID. Yeah, right. Okay, there you go. We don't know when the top's coming in. We're going to look at that shortly. Jacori, good morning, Robert, Steve, and Clem. What is the effect on money inventory when tapering starts? Well, that's a really hard one to answer because they're talking about adding a whole bunch of new money in the house today. So you have to wait and see. Good morning, Subconscious. Sean Cunningham, trading from Bangkok, all day free. Trade in the evening. Nice. Coffee helps. Got my coffee here, nice and warm. Coffee cups nice and happy. I got to be careful not to get any on my Grateful Dead meets the Peanuts shirt. Look at Jerry. Brent. Bobby. Phil. Bill. All right. Good morning. When? All right. Let's get things going here. I'm going to put up the daily in crude. And hopefully the sound is right. Let me know if it's not coming through or if it's doubled up. Thank you, Alec. I like the shirt. Sound check. There you are. Okay. Trading research. Yeah. Hey, make it a super awesome day. All right. So here we go. This is, of course, the daily in crude oil. We are looking at a potential market state change here. We've got the market basically one time framing, falling into balance, breaking the first trend line. Now we're below weekly kickoff low. We added some volume and some open interest on this move to the downside yesterday. That's indicating a potential healthy auction. Volume and open interest. We want to see those increasing. So I'm going to be looking at the weekly kickoff high here as potential resistance. So far, we're inside extended trading hour range, which may tell me I need to go a little bit slower this morning, looking for better opportunities as the day goes on. Looking at the 30-minute chart. Okay, we've got overnight inventory basically even. I mean, settlements right here, 78.81. We've got a relatively small overnight range. I still got to put that on here. And we're right in the middle of it. So we don't really have any overnight inventory with which to work with. So 80.50 weekly kickoff high. was supportive for a period of time day before yesterday. We broke down below it. We didn't close below it. Yesterday, we had all this overnight inventory to the long side, which I think kind of lit this downside fire as all these longs decided they weren't going to get paid anymore. They started to bail out of the market, taking the market back to settlement, back to point of control, kind of teetering on weekly kickoff low. And then finally on this bar right here, this 1230 bar, 80.50 is the weekly kickoff high. It's the high of this bar, and the market starts to move directionally away from it. So I'm looking at that as a potential area for an execution today. We may find some fish up there, and looking for that as a area of resistance. Visual targets down below. Within reach, we've got a naked point of control right here. It's approximately 77.90. We also have a little bit of a gap down here. The gap is 76.18 at the top, 75.68 to the downside, and another naked point of control down below that at approximately 74.80. So if we are going to become directional, we've got a couple of weaknesses that were left in past movement to kind of focus on for potential targets. And, if we do get our opportunity up here near weekly kickoff high, I'll certainly be looking at that. We've got about 3 minutes here before crude oil opens. We may come back and take a look at the opening range to see if that offers any opportunity. However, just going back to the 30-minute chart here in crude oil for a second, we're in range and perhaps even in value. So that's another thing that's going to say maybe we're going to wait to see if we get better trade location as the day goes on. Let's go through the S&Ps now. Volume and open interest increasing now. See, it seems like we're actually bringing interested parties into the marketplace, which scares me a little bit. But we've got volume increasing a little bit yesterday. It was about 5% higher on the New York Stock Exchange. So we're still seeing volume in futures and in the underlying commodity, which is the New York Stock Exchange for the S&Ps here, increasing in volume, added 21,000 in open interest yesterday. Finally, we're starting to see some money coming in. We continue to one time frame. In other words, each daily bar has a higher low and a higher high. It's very difficult to buy this market at all-time highs. I get that. It's very tempting to think we're going to be able to pick the top. I suggest not doing that. When the market is directional, we can just this is what the S&Ps do. They get the short time frame picking tops, get us all short, and then they run it up on us. They get us picking tops and run it up on us. I don't know when the market is going to turn. We've come a long way in a short period of time. It is Friday. We did have some good news come out. When is there going to be some sort of a vicious contrary move? We don't know, but we don't want to keep stepping in front of a market that is running rampant to the upside. Here's the 30-minute chart. So my question was going to be, are we going to have overnight inventory to the long side by the time we open? Looks that way. Are we going to open with a gap? Well, yeah, it looks that way. So now we're holding some overnight longs. We've got a gap to the upside. Gap rules. If we can't close the gap relatively early, we trade in the direction of the gap. We've got 47.10 up here as a potential weekly kickoff level because we had last week's weekly kickoff. We broke out on Monday. Geez, we've come a long way. So, yeah, we broke out of that on Monday. Now it's Friday. This 47.10 is a measured move. And, quite frankly, within reach. Nemo says we're in the Santa Claus rally already. Nemo, all I can say is don't touch that boat. See if anybody gets that. Let's go back now. Well, S&Ps, gap rules. don't fight a directional market. If this thing turns around, it's going to be a tough day to pick that day. Back to the crude oil, in range and value, first minute. Let's see if this works for us. And it doesn't look like it wants to work. Okay. We are seeing sellers right off the open here. I'm going to step out on a limb here and say that the high of the opening range is 79.75. I'm going to put that on my chart. It might become useful later on. Doesn't look like we're going to get, oh, there it is. There's our first minute. So, yes, 79.75. The high of the opening range. It's a pretty big opening range. Nothing that I'm going to be messing with, I don't think. Too much risk in this. We're still inside the opening range. If we take out one side of the opening range and come back into the opening range, that might be something I would look at for a potential opportunity. But again, because we opened basically in balance, I'm not in a big hurry. Let's look now at the NASDAQ. Yeah, the NASDAQ had a breakout day yesterday above the weekly kickoff level. Finally, the NASDAQ's been a little bit of a lagger here. Convincing rejection of weekly kickoff high here. We added 5,600 in open interest. We had higher volume. That's all good news for continuation for the upside auction, which again scares me a little bit. We've got other time frame. I mean, we've got one time framing still, same as in the S&Ps, same as probably in the Russell and the Dow. We're focusing on these right now, but the one time framing is something that you don't want to fight. It's so difficult to buy it at all-time highs. It's much easier to sell it, but typically I've found that the more difficult one to do is the right one. Financial astrology. Yeah, this is quite the quite the move. Take a look at the 30-minute chart. Okay. So yesterday we opened with a gap, couldn't close the gap. The weekly kickoff level became supportive. We have the market moving higher the better part of the day. Settlement in the NASDAQ, 16,330.75. We're going to open with a gap. Do we have some overnight longs? It looks like we knee-jerked just down to settlement to kind of even out any of those longs. So anything that's coming in now is looking more like new longs. As far as high volume nodes, we've got settlement is kind of a high volume node right here. So that's 16,330.75. Point of control, you can see this right here, is approximately 16,315.316. It's a P-shaped profile, so it kind of indicates short covering, but with a boost in open interest, we think that there's probably some new buying coming into this. Other high volume nodes, 16,253. Other than that, I'm not looking at anything other than the weekly kickoff high, which resistance becomes support. We come back to it. We would treat it as support, and we may be able to find some fish there if we even get that opportunity. Mert, I'd agree. It's not logical, but I've seen the equities do amazing things through the years. Sometimes it just defies logic. All right, so here we are in gold. It's a pretty convincing rejection of weekly kickoff low yesterday. We added 5,600 in open interest. Now, looking at the bigger picture here, we're in a long time frame range We've got basic volleying back and forth. We finally found a place to hold here at weekly kickoff low with the open interest and volume. It wasn't great volume yesterday, but still pretty good. And that 5,600 estimated increase in open interest says, okay, we found some buyers here. So this is going to be an important level if we ever reach back to it again. We've got overall still in balance, still short time frame control. Let's take a look at where those short time frame levels of possible importance could be for us today. All right, so here's yesterday. Again, a P-shaped profile indicating short covering, but with the boost in open interest, there was more to that. Settlement 1793.50. No overnight inventory. The knee jerk took us to yesterday's low. The knee jerk has not taken us to yesterday's high. Our overnight high did that. We're in the middle of the range. We're in the middle of value. I'm going to try and suggest, let's try and stay patient here. We know we've got some visuals above. We've got a gap. We've got a point of control. We've got a point of control down here that we've left in the middle of a gap. There's all kinds of visuals to look for. Stay patient. Try and get your best possible location first, and then go for secondaries after that. If you're looking to see this market come up and check this point of control and you're thinking about looking for a sale there, try and get it. If it doesn't get there, that may provide enough structure for you to lean on just to keep your risk limited. My brother always with the redraw the trend. You redraw the trends. We'll talk about that later. Mert, my daughter's always telling me, like we just left Mercury in retrograde, and I don't know what that means, and I haven't figured out how to use that in trading. But all right. Let's take a look at the euro, and we'll get down to business. So yeah, dollar has been strong. It's 62. It was just put in as a new 52-week high, so it makes sense that we are seeing some weakness here in the euro. We're taking out the weekly kickoff low, supportive back here, supportive. Now we break it. Okay, what did we do yesterday? We had decent volume and we added 10,000 contracts to the downside. Finally, we see some money coming into this market. Strong U.S. dollar, increase in open interest to the downside, taking out the weekly kickoff low. I don't want to fight this move to the downside. It could very easily whirl around and reject price below weekly kickoff low. I'm seeing for some pretty decent volume. What does it look like on the 30-minute chart? Overnight shorts. The knee jerk is 2 to the tick, weekly kickoff low, and we reject. So I'm going to be looking for opportunities to sell strength if I can find them. So I really don't have much reference down below. I'm going to be looking for that later on. So, if we get opportunities to sell strength against some smaller high volume nodes, that's what I would probably be looking to do today. And to the 10-year. Greetings to your daughter, because she is right. I'm gonna have her tell me, hey, what's going on in the stars? We can add that to the market forecast. Good morning, Ednelson. Okay. 10-year. Range bound. Rates keep slipping to the downside. Price keeps slipping to the upside. We're not near any major market state changes here just yet. We took a pretty good stab at weekly kickoff high yesterday, which is 131 and 15 seconds. We got up to 131 and 14 seconds before coming back off. We got an inside day and extended trading hours. The unemployment numbers out, a little bit of knee jerking. I'm really not all that interested in being involved here unless we can get a real good test of this weekly kickoff high. This is last week's high. We've got a naked point of control from a couple of days ago. There's some unfinished business on both sides of the market, and we're right in the middle of value from yesterday. We haven't really changed the perception of value at all. So I'm going to try and stay very patient. If I'm going to do anything, I'm going to see if we still have some resistance up here at this weekly kickoff high for a move back lower. And take a look now at the nat gas. This chart has been presenting rather strangely, but it looks like it's right now. What do we have? Well, on the daily, we're range bound, which is, again, hard to believe. Short time frame control remains. We're right in the middle. Short time frame control. One interesting thing that yesterday we did put in a little bit higher volume on a down day, and we added 2,700 in open interest. That's a pretty substantial boost in open interest. I hate to use the pun, but there may be some energy coming into the natural gas market. But take a look at the 30-minute chart. Overnight inventory mixed to the short. Looking at it this morning, sitting down here at 6 o'clock in the morning, there's really not a lot of overnight inventory. Overnight low is an interesting spot. Overnight high is usually an interesting spot when we are in short time frame control. This lines up nicely with the low from yesterday. We got one little naked point of control kind of looking at us down here. If we can't hold yesterday's low or last night's low, this would be an obvious visual target for the market to get to. So I'm going to suggest, again, patience. My idea for a Friday is make some money and then go have a nice weekend. It was always a big story in the S&P pit. If you were still in the pit at 2 o'clock on Friday, you were down money. Okay. Let's pick up any questions that we might have here. Robert, John, use your crystal ball. Boy, if I had one. Ooh. Rick, you and I'd be on a beach going, looking good, Billy Ray. And maybe a few other folks too, huh? Yes, Robert, I did talk about the S&Ps. What did we talk about them? Just going to go through my notes here for you. We have volume increased yesterday. Open interest increased yesterday on the push to the upside. The market is still one time framing higher. In other words, higher highs and higher lows every day on the daily chart. We don't want to fight this until it's time to fight it. It's very difficult to continue to buy into a market that keeps putting up higher prices. It's very tempting to try and pick the top in it, but that's what the S&Ps do. They get short time frame traders short, and then they run it up on them. So I'm gonna suggest, the thing to do is try and buy pullbacks when the market is exhibiting weakness at levels that you can manage that risk at support levels. Short time frame, medium time frame. Just try not to try and start picking tops. And the minute I say that, we're going to put in a top. Always just seems to work that way. Hey, Fred, Slim Jim from Alaska. Good to see you, Robert. Hopefully that helps. Fred, Aaron Rodgers is out with COVID. The Packers are Aaron Rodgers and a bunch of guys named Dave. I think that's an overstatement, but Dave needs to step up. Yeah, I guess so, huh? Yeah, too bad, man. Let's see what the backup looks like. If Aaron Rodgers was the backup to another guy, Brett Favre, it seems that the Packers have a golden touch when it comes to finding good quarterbacks. So, honestly, I'm not worried about them. Bears, on the other hand, I'm worried about. It's good to see you, Fred. Good to see everybody this morning. I don't want to cause any confusion, but my kind of little last thing I say before we end the forecast is I'll see you in the pit in a few minutes. I'm just kind of like falling back into the old days. We'd be up in the office getting ready to go down to the trading pit, and we'd say, all right, I'll see you in the pit in a minute. So just kind of a sign off. Dan does see you in the markets. I'm saying I'll see you in the pit, but there's no pit. There's no, nowhere else to go. Just saying trade well and have a good day. All right. Yeah. Long and close eyes. Yeah. It is such a game. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and when we're trading markets, we are trading. Do we have an audio fail? It looks like it's going. Sorry if it's not. But I was listening to a podcast, and when we're trading markets, we're trading people, and it's people's emotions and people's ideas and motivations that move price. If we can understand people, understanding ourselves, and through understanding ourselves, understanding people, we may be able to give ourselves a leg up. Oh, okay, all right, yeah. I got a couple of things I got to work on this weekend, and hopefully we won't have any more gremlins. Live room, something to think about. Have a great weekend, you too, Mert. Monkey gains, good, okay, all right, yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, we used to have a market broadcast that lasted all day. It was great. If you guys want to send a suggestion into to support and say, hey, bring back the market broadcast. Eddie Horn would be a happy guy to have that back. I'll be your IT guy. Boy, I could use one. Little Jerry, I don't know if he's doing it. So get out there, profit today. Have a great day. No recap today. And have a great weekend. Get some rest. It's a little chilly out here. Got a little work to do around here. I usually wait till it's kind of a little cooler out to do my big outside work. So got a few things to do. Again, trade well today. If you make some money, nothing wrong with taking it. And we're going to have this mic during charts. Hopefully next week. Just got a couple of things to switch around, and things should go a lot smoother, I hope. So, anyways, get out there, trade well today, and I'll see you in the pit in a few minutes. Have a great day and a great weekend. Don't forget, roll your clocks back.